Are we ready? Coby, you're going to be how's it going? You're going to be a restricted free agent this summer. How do you envision that playing out, and would you like to be back with the Bulls?
It's new for me, obviously, being a restricted free agent, so I hope it works out for the best. I love Chicago, love my teammates, love the front office, so, I would like to be back, but a lot of that's out of my control. It's a business at the end of the day, and I understand decisions have to be made. So if I'm back, great, but if I'm not, you got to live with it.
That was a very politically correct answer. That was good. But no, following up on that, I mean, you've made no secret of your fact of your desire to start. Would that be part of the conversation here? Is that a starting role would be important beyond whatever the payday is as well?
I think it could be a conversation. Obviously, that's my goal. So I think it definitely could be a conversation, and figure things out from there. But obviously, that's still my goal, and that hasn't changed.
Coby, we've talked about it a little throughout the season, but could you summarize your season individually, where you feel like you've gotten better and where you want to improve moving forward?
I think my whole game has just grown throughout this whole entire season, from defensively, from playmaking, decision-making, making shots, making big shots in the fourth. I think just ultimately, in my voice, I feel like the most thing I'm proud of is my defense and my voice, my leadership on the court and off the court. I feel like I was respected by my teammates and I was heard, and I ran with it from the beginning to the end. So I feel like this summer just taking strides in all aspects of the game, really honing in on my handle, continue to improve that, wanting to be able to beat defenders off the dribble more instead of playing off closeouts and pick and roll, and then shooting off the dribble would be something big for me this summer.
Coby, you talked about how starting is an important goal for you. Do you feel like you're there now where you could step into a starting point guard position? And either way, just kind of what do you want to add to your game to try to build to that point of being able to be a starting point guard?
Yeah, I feel like I can. I feel like I'm more capable of doing it now than I was 2 years ago. I feel like I've grown a lot. I've matured a lot in my game. My fault, my keys fell. I've matured a lot in my game. I think continue to work on my voice, leadership, playmaking, all aspects of being a point guard, but still continuing to be who I am at the same time.
Then we know how important last summer was for you. What's kind of your plan and approach for this summer? What are you going to be focusing on the most?
To be honest, the same thing I did last summer. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I made a lot of strides doing what I did last summer. Obviously work on tweaking my game differently. Like I said, beat my defenders off the dribble, learning angles, figuring out ways to get fouled, get to the free throw line more. I think I'm a pretty good free throw shooter, so I got to figure out ways to get to the free throw line a little bit more, and shooting off the dribble. But mainly just, doing what I did last summer for the most part, schedule-wise.
Yeah. Do you feel like, the first 3 seasons up and down, we've talked about that, but do you feel like going into this offseason, you're as comfortable with your place in the league as you've ever been, knowing what you're capable of and have the potential to do? Yeah,
my confidence is higher than it's ever been, and my belief in myself is higher than it's ever been, just by the way, the season went. So, I'm looking forward to another big summer for me, and a summer full of work, and take advantage of all the opportunities that come my way.
I'm sure you remember way back, I think it was the pandemic year that stopped. You didn't make the Rising Stars game. Came out of that average like 26 or 28 points for about 10 games. They shut down the league then. Then you get injured. And probably more than anybody on this team, from starting, not starting, on the ball, off the ball, you've had to adjust, change positions to everybody. When you consider your strength, what do you feel you are and your best at? They mentioned, you're point guard, shooting guard. How do you see yourself?
I think I'm a guard. And in today's game, there's not many traditional point guards anymore on teams. I think I'm just a guard. I can play on the ball. I can play off the ball. I can do a lot of different things, and I take pride in being versatile in that aspect. So I just think I'm a guard. I can handle on the ball duties, and I can also play off the ball with the threat of my shot. So I don't really look at myself as a traditional point guard. I don't try to be that. I think one point in my career, I tried to be like get everybody involved, don't worry about myself, trying to be that guy. And I struggled a little bit, especially my second year. When I was a starting point guard, I struggled with that a little bit. And then I think I just looked in the mirror and said, I got to be who I am. And I feel like just being who I am helps the team in a large way. So.
Yeah, Coby, from a team standpoint, the three-point shot puts you guys at a disadvantage so many times this season. But as one of the most reliable shooters on the team, what was your analysis of what you all could have done better as a three-point shooting team? How can you improve that moving forward?
I honestly think, we didn't have bad shooters or anything. I just think we didn't take enough at the end of the day. It would be certain, games where teams would take 43 threes and we would take 23, and they'll be 18 for 43 and we'll be 10 for 23. That's a big, difference in the game. I think we just have to figure out ways to get up more threes at the end of the day because that's the way the league is going now. A lot of teams are focusing on shooting, more threes because that equals more points. And at the end of the day, if you got more points, then you win the game. So I feel like we just got to figure out ways to take more. I feel like during the year, if we could have did that, I think our chances would have been better.
As a quick follow-up, at any level of basketball, you tell players to shoot more. That's not a problem. But for 2 years now, that seems to have been a problem for you guys. Why is that? They want you to shoot, not just you, the whole team. They want you all to shoot more.
Yeah, I just think, to be honest, at the end of the day, the makeup of your team. But also, we got to I think a lot of times this year, some of us passed up shots to get downhill or to, myself included. I think we could have, taken more advantage of the open looks that we did have. And like I said, I just think we got to take more advantage of the opportunities we get behind the three-point line.
Coby, let's say you are back next season, and let's say the majority of the core is back, so to speak. Obviously, you're not going to know exactly who's on the roster, but let's say the majority of the core is back, including you. One thing we heard consistently from players is the talent in the locker room didn't match what the record was. Like, the talent was better than the record. How confident are you that your record can be better next year, and why? What would you point to as how you guys can be better?
I think that, like you said, I feel like that on paper we look like a really talented team. But, I feel like learning from this year, and making improvements in the areas that we need to make improvement on. Like, this year our offense wasn't great. 2 years ago our defense wasn't great. So I feel like it's weird, but we was the number one defense at the All-Star break. And I feel like we can build, we got so many talented guys offensively that what needs to be fixed can be fixed. It's not the defense this year, it was the offense. So I feel like that's the plus for us is that we got so many talented guys, especially on the offensive end, that it can be an easy fix for us.
One last one for me. Coby, I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked Vooch. Do you feel like, from the player standpoint, you all held each other accountable better this season than in the past?
Yeah, I think so. I think we had tough conversations during the games, not during the games, in film. I think we did. I think everybody's voices were heard, and everybody, said what was on their minds a lot of the times. Obviously the season didn't go as planned, but I feel like we took steps, and everybody being held accountable, but also, being able to take it, you know what I'm saying? Like, being able to put your pride aside and say, you're right, and look in the mirror. I feel like we took steps in that direction. How's that going to help moving forward? I think that builds a relationship and builds character on the floor. Being able to put your trust in someone, being able to take the criticism and continue to move forward. I feel like that's what the really great teams do. And I feel like this year, like I said, we took steps in that direction.
One logistically, what's kind of your off-season plan? Like, where do you plan to spend your time working out? And is it kind of normal, or are you going to do something different because you're a restricted free agent in terms of where you're going to be?
No, I'm going to be where I was last year, in California. Yeah.
I was going back to North Carolina.
Yeah, just mixing it up between there, home and California. Thank you. Yep.
Thanks for everything, man.
Yep.